and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law is enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on January 11th, 2024, and posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspapers, the Record and the Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcasted on local TV and online at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines a meeting as any gathering or corporeal or by means of communication equipment which is attended by or open to all of the members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Byers-Kang is not here. Ms. Colback.
Here.
Ms. Curry.
Here.
Mr. Knight is not here. Mrs. Kotang.
Here.
Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Ms. Morel.
Here.
Mr. Rubino.
Here.
Mrs. Richter.
Here. The board will be convening to executive session to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. The board will reconvene into public session at approximately 7:30 p.m. I have a motion to go into executive session.
Motion. Second.
Motion Morel, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
One name, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Fort Lee Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published on January 11th, 2024, and posted on the district website at www.flboe.com, published in the board's designated online media outlet newspaper, the Record and the Star Ledger, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Fort Lee, and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested said notice. Please be advised this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcasted on local TV and online at a future date. The Open Public Meeting Act allows for remote participation at board meetings and defines meeting as any gathering, whether corporeal or by means of communication equipment, which is attended by or open to all members of a public body, held with the intent on the part of the members of the body present to discuss or act as a unit upon the specific public business of that body. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Byers-Kang.
Here.
Ms. Colback. Here. Mrs. Curry. Here. Mr. Knight.
Here.
Mrs. Kotang. Here. Mr. Lopez.
Here.
Ms. Morel.
Here.
Mr. Rubino.
Here.
Mrs. Richter.
Here. The board convened executive session at 6:30 p.m. to discuss legal, personnel, and other confidential matters. Dr. Kravitz, will you share your superintendent's report?
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending in person and online this evening. As we do at the end of every school year, we report on student safety data systems, which is the number of incidents that include such as violence, vandalism, substances, HIV confirmed, assaults, bites, and we list that for every school. And this year in Fort Lee High School, there have been 30. There was 1 in school 1, 3 in school 2, 1 in school 4, and 55 in the middle school.
How many?
55 in the middle school total. That number is then reported to the Department of Education and to our New Jersey Public Account. I would also like to take this time to give everyone a little bit of an update. I have personally met with the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey, the Israeli American Commission, as well as the ADL. They've presented some of the programs that we can start to incorporate into some of our classrooms. We'll be meeting again next week as well, and we'll look at all of those programs and see which one's best fit in which grade levels. And it's fantastic professional development opportunities for a lot of our staff. Thank you to all the custodians who began cleaning, or as one is walking by, cleaning our schools. And if you go into our schools, all the desks are out of every room and we're getting everything cleaned. There's a lot of work that gets done between now and September. We open, including on the curriculum side, including everything from computers to classroom, everything we need to get done. And I thank all of those staff who are still working here. We have one HIV and it was unfounded. And that's the last of our report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before we continue, I just want to congratulate some great things that have happened over the summer so far. For the Little League, the Senior League, with 16 and 15-year-olds, we were the runners-up in the state championship tournament, second place in the state of New Jersey. That is the Fort Lee and Cosette Park team. And then tonight, the Junior League, 14 and 13-year-olds are competing right now as we speak in their state championship game in Secaucus. So hopefully we have.
Do we have a score?
It's 0-0.
Okay.
In the top of the 5th inning. So congratulations to all of our athletes and the volunteer coaches in Fort Lee. All right, do we have any committee reports?
Yes, we do. The Equity Committee met earlier tonight prior to this meeting to discuss steps that the district is taking to address some of this proportionality in our system, particularly in regards to our SLD students. And we are currently, the district under the leadership of Ms. Steinbaker is seeking cultural competency training to bring that into our district. So I'm very excited to hear that we will be doing that. The last this was done in the district was in October 2021. Better late than never. So very excited to start that with our IRS team and to roll that out hopefully to other parts of the district.
Any other committee reports?
The policy committee met on Friday, July 12th, and discussed extensive discussion of policy and regulation relating to non-resident and verifying residency of our students. It's the policy that underlies the residency hearings that we have, and there are some state changes that are mandatory. So there'll be a number of policies, I think, on our next agenda. There was discussion of policy relating to board member resignation and removal, and the majority of the committee is in favor of requiring board members to attend board meetings in person and not virtually. Obviously, board members will still be able to attend as a member of the public. So I assume there will be some discussion on that policy when it hits the agenda. There are other mandatory policies which will be on our next meeting. Very little discretion to the board in the policies. They relate to school nutrition, educational equity policies, some equal employment opportunity policies with term changes in them, curriculum content, and the the committee has started to look at pupil use of personal electronic devices, cell phones in the classroom. I think if you received your New Jersey School Boards Association magazine, there's a good article in there that just sensitizes board members to the types of issues that they should be thinking about. And there will be another, we're looking at, there has been some suggestion, the committee has not come to any type of consensus, but requiring the public to also attend in person if they want to speak at a meeting. There's definitely members of the committee with very divergent views on that, so I expect that there will be some discussion. And of late, at our next meeting, I'm going to ask that the facilities policy be placed for discussion. I've received a number of different sensitizing me to various issues, which I want to have a discussion with the committee to see if our policy is in line with other districts in Bergen County. There was a thread, if you follow the New Jersey School Boards Association, recently asking for districts to report how they treat facilities usage, the types of costs and requirements. And I know, Kristen, you responded to that with what our district does. And, the information is kind of all over the lot, and that's just one source. So I'll be asking for various information so the board can look at that policy and see whether any changes are in order.
Are there any other committee reports?
I don't have a committee report, but I have a couple things I'd like to say before the meeting starts.
Okay, so we're on to board member questions or comments. Go ahead.
Here we go. First, I'd like to congratulate Mike Klein and Lucy Casala for making the Academic Hall of Fame. I went to school with both of them. I've been friends with both of them for well over 40 years. Mike Klein close to 50. And I just want to congratulate their hard work and volunteerism in the town of Fort Lee. Second thing is not as nice as Fort Lee alumni recently passed away. She was a class of 1971. Her name was Catherine Pacanalis. Sorry for destroying the name. The reason I'm bringing this up, she was the first female deputy manager, editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal, and a Cornell graduate. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any
Yeah,
board members with questions or comments?
I do. I'd like to
Okay.
share. So, yeah, I never abstain from things, but tonight I'm going to be abstaining from some stuff. So I just wanted to kind of just briefly address that. There are a couple items on the agenda today. It is 6, 7, and 8P, which have to do with contracts that have been negotiated. I'm going to go ahead and abstain from these because these conversations happen in like smoke-filled rooms that I wasn't in. I never was party to any of these conversations. I've asked questions. I didn't receive any answers to the questions that I asked. So I'll be abstaining to those. And I would hope that in the future we could have a little bit more transparency when it comes to these things. I think, contracts, especially considering my career is negotiating contracts and work in corporate America, one would think that at least I would hear about these things before they get posted on our website. I mean, I found out about this from the website. Somebody told me about it. So I'll be abstaining from these things. That's it. That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay,
Just before you go, Holly, Mr. Nenner is going to remind you when it comes time to vote, you're going to have to say abstain during the actual vote.
Okay, Dr. Kravitz, thank you for giving the report on the HIV incidents over the year. Can you talk about how does that compare to previous years, what the trend is? Are there any opportunity for the district to do better? And are there risks that are facing our district in terms of just increasing HIV? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I don't have the longitudinal data tonight, but I know that the district does do a lot of character ed, as I mentioned prior. There are other meetings where you're implementing a lot of things, including, like I said, the Wingman program and expanding that. As we talk about character education in the district, those are the type of programs that help reduce some of that violence and vandalism, and the idea of HIVs as well. And it's a culture change, which we spoke about before as well, understanding people and working with people. And that's why I'm proud to say that as we build more the capacity through our own organizations and working with these other organizations that I shared tonight, they have some professional development that helps in that understanding of other people's cultures and working with the various culture groups like JPAC and CPAC and JPAC as well to help share the information of that we're all here as one community. So I can get you that data, compare it over the years and do some research.
Yeah, I would love to understand better. I understand that the social media plays a bigger part than ever in our kids' behavior. And I specifically am interested, how does that change our kids? Are we staying ahead of that curve? How do we stay ahead of the curve? Just want to share that concern.
Right.
okay, so, I would like to make a motion to post 6P for resubmission of the assistant superintendent contract to the executive county superintendent.
I'll second that.
Mrs. Byers Kane,
Yes.
Ms. Colbath,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Yes.
Mr. Knight,
On tabling?
Table.
Yes.
Mrs. Coatang,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Morel,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. Okay. Mike, you had something to say?
I'm sorry?
Did you have another thing to say?
Oh, no, we're good. Yeah, I'll say it real quick. It's about the football program, without mentioning any names. I've gotten, as of an hour ago, 11 texts and emails about how well it's going, how super helpful the coaches are, always keeping in contact with the parents. That's all I have to say. Excuse me? Yes.
Paul, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So I too will be abstaining on 7P, just having nothing to do with, the individual, the process, not understanding the negotiations or having any contemporaneous or timely information on it. We were able to spend some significant time talking about 8P, where I think the process was worse, but because of the importance to me of the contract and moving that ahead, I'm going to put aside the problems with the process and vote for it because I highly endorse it. I would ask, though, that in the future, the board be brought into discussions of that sort and terms and conditions before they are offered to individuals, to make sure that the board is in full support before they're offered. Two other things. I printed the agenda first thing this morning so that I could review it and look at the different materials. I had to go back at about 5 o'clock to look at one of the attachments, and I discovered that 4F was new, 5F was new, 9F was new, 2P had a name removed. And if I hadn't gone back, I would have been totally, I did receive, then I went to look at emails, and at 3:55, I was told that there was an updated agenda, but I would not have known that had I not wanted to look at an exhibit. And so I would just ask, I don't know that any of these couldn't have waited to the next meeting. And there are times when a walk-in is appropriate after a residency hearing or an HIB hearing, but on these, I could tell you 4F, which is disposal of equipment, has an attachment of 48 pages. And it honestly looks like we're disposing of every Chromebook and computer in the district. And I don't want to belabor it, but it's 48 pages, single spaced. And what's the plan to replace? If we already replaced, is it in the budget? How does, is there a supply chain issue? It was, I couldn't really dig in at 5 o'clock. I don't know if you want to comment just specifically on 4F, because it really, we have disposal, but it's usually a page or two, and this was 48 pages.
So so it was brought to my attention, there are a few items that had to be placed on the agenda, so 4F, I don't know if it had to be. 5F was a timeline for it, IDA grants, I don't know if you want to comment on that one, Dina?
Right, well, the IDA grants, they have to be submitted by a certain time. I believe it's by the end of July.
And 2P, as far as name removed, there was in checking and double checking to make sure that people are allowed to be doing what they're doing. That's why the names were.
And there's an extensive 48-page single-spaced list of computers and things that we are disposing of. How
How
could
did
it
that
be
come
that
about?
we're disposing of so much at once?
I will get an answer for you within the next, hopefully, minute, as hopefully Mr. Ruggiero will text me and tell me what the answer to that.
Okay. Lunch prices were also something that got added very late in the day.
And I do apologize for, I should have had a meeting because I have to get the applications out to the parents for that. For the
Not my pet peeve, but a lot of parents stay very focused on what we charge for lunch and everything. And so just more for their benefit. Lastly, last couple of agendas, there's a lot of janitorial reorganization or moving. Are we reorganizing our janitorial staff, or what is happening there? I'm not interested by name, but just, there's a lot of movement.
On the transfer, it's an amendment because they were put in on the previous agenda. They have a wrong location for him. And I think the other counts are just hires. It's not moves anymore. It was just hires or amendments to the salary. There was one that was a transfer because that was an amendment because it was put to the wrong spot. The other ones I think were amendments to hiring because like a black seal, they have like a night differential.
And the last one, we had 5 to 10 to 12, I don't know. And I'm like looking at appointments. We've got 1, 2, 3 under appointments. I mean, is it just normal? It just seems like a lot of something might be reorganized. Is it just normal hiring?
I think it's just the hiring, but I think if I'm looking at the, I think some was new, I can say the next one on the agenda, right? The other one was an amendment, and the other one, I think Darren Rodriguez was,
Hiring, it was a lot of less and more this time.
but some of them were amendments, because I know they were supposed to go like a night differential, they did have like a black seal license, and then they get like a stipend for that too.
Okay, appreciate it.
Just for some clarity, Paul brings up 4F several times, and I did see the disposal of technology. However, on 4F, in our agenda, it's different. It's not.
So
You have to go on the website.
on the website is the updated agenda.
Yeah.
And it's actually, find out
That's what I was
exactly.
confused about.
I did.
Because I just went on FLBOE.com and I'm on the right agenda now. Because the one I had didn't have 4F as disposal of equipment either.
Okay, I'm opening it now. Okay, I see it now.
So,
Agenda that was open before when I first got here.
Yeah, that wasn't from the website.
Understood.
so over the last several years, we used these broken Chromebooks for parts, and now we're actually looking to dispose of the unused parts. Well,
Yeah, I just want to reiterate Paul's point. I've asked requests for this in the past as well. When we get an updated agenda, after we receive the draft, any change, can it be black line so that we know exactly what's been changed? It just makes it so much easier for us to not have to reread. This won't be applicable to you, but whoever is coming on, this would be tremendously helpful for us, not have to figure out what the changes are. And I happened to print out my copy, so it had updates on there, but the copy that is on our screen is dated. So we just ask that we be provided the correct copy in front of us, so when we vote, we actually have that, and not, if you don't have a physical copy, you just won't have it. Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, before we move on to public comments, I just want to remind everyone that we discussed 11P will be amended to read that it is going to reappoint the individuals listed and salaries are pending contract negotiations. So we are approving the reappointments of those individuals, but not their salaries at this time. Okay, may I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Morales, second. Colback, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right, we will first hear from the members of the public physically located here tonight. Then we will take questions and comments from those participating remotely. Participants are limited to 3 minutes in which to make their statement. For remote public participants, please select the raise hand button, and Mr. Ruggiero will recognize you in the order of raised hands. Please unmute your microphone, and everyone please state your name and home address for the record, and then begin your comments. You will all have 3 minutes. Anyone in public with us tonight want to speak? Please do so.
I guess Joy?
Hi, Dilani Roca Dominguez, 2137 South Street. I'm here tonight because last meeting they mentioned that they were going to have a resolution on the band director for the high school. Then I didn't see anything on the agenda that might have suggested that someone might have been appointed to that role.
So it's actually on 2P. On the bottom.
On one of the attachments.
That's
And so are the children that are gonna start, is there someone already?
2P, Michael Leon is the new band director.
Oh, okay, because I saw it said retired.
No, it says rationale retirement. So the first name is Michael, last name Leone, teacher of music, high school, gives the salary, and then it says the reason for it, the rationale behind that hire. So he is the replacement for Mr. Wells.
I see. Okay, it means that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know he's been in contact with the band boosters.
okay.
He's met with them several times. They're talking about band camp. They have all, next agenda, you'll see staff, but he's already reached out to a bunch of staff who will be assisting him. So he's hit the deck running. Like I said, I think he's had 2 or 3 meetings with the band boosters already.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Keith Gossman, 2185 Lemoyne Avenue. Just here on behalf of the CPAC team, sorry, I'm going to read. Just a couple things. We did have our elections. I know you've all here and out there have been hearing me speak about it for quite a while. So I was elected the president. Andrew Goodman is the vice president, and Cynthia Hanna is the secretary of the Fort Lee Special Education Parents Advisory Group. And that information went out via school messenger, and we're going to do it on Facebook and stuff like that as well. We met as a leadership team the first time tonight, so we'll be talking with Dr. Kravitz and Diana Davis as she comes to the end of her time here with Fort Lee's district. I guess this is a question for later, but Dr. Kravitz, can there be like a Fort Lee CPAG email that somebody can just add the personal emails for the town to email the CPAG group leadership? Is that something that's ever been done before?
I'll check into it. I think we can do a CPAC at Fort Lee Board of Ed.
Yeah, something like that.
And go from there.
And then just whoever's emails in leadership gets put there. Great. We'll talk about it offline. But somebody asked me that in the leadership meeting tonight. I think that's it. Oh, well, we are curious what's going on with Diana Davis's replacement. We know it was new, but obviously all her parents are.
So certainly when we leave the district, we advertise, we are in the final round. We will still be determining the final round and the candidates. We've had a nice group of people who have served in that role in other districts, who have applied. We've gone through the first, we have one more interview for the first round, and then hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have an idea of who will be that person.
Great. We look forward to meeting them. I'm sorry, Michael.
Any other officers in that organization that you didn't mention that were elected or not?
No, we only started with 3 because when you're creating something, you don't want to overshoot with 10 leaders and no other members. So we're building like one brick at a time. I think we've done good, and we hope to continue to do good. So that's it. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
And I would like to congratulate you. Thank you. It's been a great year working with you, and I look forward to as we build that career.
Thank you. Me too.
Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you.
The info update was few. It's going to be very quick. I'd like to know when you're going to fire the second teacher who was created in propaganda in high school.
I said we're not going to become, but none of the board members are be commenting on confidential personnel matters. I understand you posed the question. They're not going to be answering your question. Okay.
Don't you think it's a lack of?
No, I don't. I think that it's a matter that is properly the subject of, it's confidential. It's personnel matter. I understand your question. The board members hear your question. They're not going to be answering your question. Superintendent Kravitz isn't going to be answering your question. If you want to go on with some other topic in your public comment, you have plenty of time. So I invite you to do so.
No, I don't. I'm interested in this particular topic.
Oh, okay, well, there's not going to be any discussion on that particular topic.
I'm sorry, I'm a taxpayer and I want to know.
Sir, I understand that, but it's a confidential personnel matter. There's not going to be any more discussion. There's not going to be any public discussion about that topic. I hear your question, but I understand your question. If you have another 2 minutes, so if you'd like to discuss something else, the floor is yours.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
That's my question.
Thank you.
Does anyone else in the public have comment? Mr. Ruggiero?
Hey, Sarah Kesha, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, do you hear me or do you see me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good evening. My name is Sarah, and I live at 484 Main Street, Fort Lee. Now, a few things that I wanted to mention is that after I finish, I would want someone there if if the superintendent can clarify the issue with HIV people. I work in healthcare. They're more than welcome to work in the offices, but not at the food service with our children or one-on-one with children, without discriminating anyone. Again, with all due respect, I need clarification on the HIV people. As far as for the board members, I'm not sure if they're getting paid or not, but we would want also every board member to get paid in the school district. For the teachers, we're all for giving them raises in their salaries. It's one of the hardest jobs as well. And the last thing, if it's possible, we would also like to see a Muslim person in the board member. That would show that you are more inclusive. And thank you very much for your time and everything. I yield my time to the other parents. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. We were discussing HIV, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Just a clarification on that. As far as board members, I am aware that they do not get paid. They do not get compensated. As far as teachers, there's contractual obligations. They're on our website that teachers do get a raise, as do other employees of the district. And those are all indicated in their renewal contracts. That again, all the contracts are on the website. And and as far as people who would want to run, there's a process that you would file an application to run for the Board of Education, and if elected, then you would serve on the Board of Education. It's a 3-year term. So it's whoever feels that they want to run for be an elected official for the board bed. That's the process. So thank you.
Howard Lipoff, you've been promoted to panelist. Please unmute your microphone and feel free to share your video. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Howard Lipoff.
Yes, let me just turn on my video. There I am. Thank you very much. I'm Howard Lipoff. I live at 161 Main Street in Little Falls. I'm a teacher in the district, and I'm the treasurer of the Fort Lee Education Association. I have a question for the superintendent. At the very beginning of the meeting, Dr. Kravitz, you mentioned a Jewish group, I think more than one groups, I think more than one being Jewish groups, and they're doing something with professional development and bringing things into the classroom. I don't know if that's religious education or what that is. And I know you said you were going to look more into it, but can you give us more of an idea of what that is all about? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lipoff, for your question. So I had said that over the last 10 days, I have met with the IAC, which is the Israeli American Coalition, the ADL, which is Anti-Defamation League, as well as the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey. They have offered some professional development opportunities. They've offered some programs that they run, different things. We will be meeting again to determine what would be the best tactic to bring in and what those programs will look like. Some of them are not specific to a religion. They're specific to how do you communicate on such difficult topics, because that's one of the things we discuss regularly here with our teachers. So they have a lot of programs that they offer. Each organization that I've met with And we'll be following up with some more detail. They were gonna get me information. I was gonna present some ideas to them and see if any of those would work and fitting that into our system.
Thank
You're welcome.
There are no more raised hands.
Okay, may I have a motion to close the floor to the public?
Motion.
Motion Rubino, the second Colback, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, moving on to resolutions. May I have a motion to approve items 1B through 2B?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Colback, second Kotang, roll call please.
Mrs. Byers King. Mrs. Byers King.
Still there? I feel like she disappeared. Yeah, I think she disappeared.
He disappeared.
Ms. Colback.
Yes.
Mrs. Curry.
Yes.
Mr. Knight.
Yes.
Is Casey still there? Yes, he's there.
Mrs. Kotang.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Morel.
She's, what's your name?
Is Holly not there?
No, she's.
Is Holly not there? No. Okay. Mr. Rubino.
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve item 1B and G?
Motion. Second.
Motion Rubino, second Lopez, roll call please.
Ms. Colback.
Yeah.
Mrs. Curry.
Yes.
Mr. Knight.
Yes.
Mrs. Kotang.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Mr. Rubino.
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve item 1 CUR through 2 CUR?
Motion.
Second.
Motion Colback, second Kotang, roll call please.
Ms. Colback.
Yes.
Mrs. Curry.
Yes.
Mr. Knight.
Yes.
Mrs. Kotang.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Morel. Wait a minute, she's not here. I'm very sorry. Mr. Rubino.
Yes.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1F through 9F? Motion Curry,
Second.
second Colback, roll call please.
Mrs. Colback.
Yes.
Mrs. Curry.
Yes.
Mr. Knight.
Yes, and on 8F, congratulations to the band. Great job.
Mrs. Kotang.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Morel.
Yes.
Mr. Rubino.
Yeah.
Mrs. Richter.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve items 1F through 5F?
I think we just
I'm
did-
sorry, 1P through 5P and
Motion.
7P through 16P with 11P as amended.
Motion. Second.
Motion Morel, second Kotang, roll call please.
Ms. Colback.
Yes, except I abstain as to 7P and no as to 3P.
7P. Okay.
Ms. Curry.
Yes.
Mr. Knight.
Yes, with the exception of an abstention on 6P, 7P, and 8P.
6P was withdrawn.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
P and 8P?
7 and 8P,
Okay,
abstention.
thank you.
Mrs. Kotang.
Yes.
Mr. Lopez.
Yes, with a no on 3P.
Ms. Morel.
Yes, with a no on 3P, one name on 4, no to one name on 4P. Everything else, yes.
4P is a no then?
One name.
Don't you have to tell me the name?
I'll give you that after the meeting. You have to do it now
The vote's gotta be called.
on Tracy O'Connell.
So we'll know the board. But we can ask.
Let's just see which one.
Mr. Rubino. Mrs. Richter.
Yes. Is there any old business? Any new business? Okay. I would just like to remind everyone that anyone wishing to put their name in, Board of Education petitions are not due until the last Monday of July, so. Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Motion Rubino, second Colbab, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, good night.
Good night.